so excited. This is my first ever fellow creator lunch date, and I cannot wait. So I am super excited to be hanging out with one of my favorite content creators who just happens to also be here in Toronto. I'm actually going away next week to New York for a special secret project that I'm really excited about. Oh, little kid, don't want to hit you. Oh my God. All right. So I need to pick up some groceries for my family, and I figured, like, what better place to do it than at my local farmer's market. So I am going to be meeting Jaclyn Forbes at the beautiful Brickworks Market. We're going to do a little shopping. We're going to have a little lunch. We're going to spill a little tea. Hopefully iced tea though, because it is like hot as out here. Let's do it. But first, let me tell you about my sponsor, Element. So you guys know I review a lot of fitness creators and athletes here at Abby's Kitchen. And one of the biggest nutrition mistakes that my sports RD colleagues and I see is not properly rehydrating when extra hydration is indicated. For a lot of people, plain water is just fine. But for folks doing longer, higher intensity workouts, exercising in the heat, or who are just what we like to call salty sweaters, there's definitely a role for a well-balanced electrolyte replacement. So when I polled my sports RD colleagues, a lot of them told me that Element was their personal go-to product because it has a science-backed electrolyte ratio of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. It also has no added sugar, coloring, gluten, artificial sweeteners, or other ingredients for folks who are extra sensitive, and it's been the go-to electrolyte replacement for US Olympians, special forces, and other professional athletes. I myself am not doing any strenuous activity right now, but I did use this product when I was nursing and pumping because I felt I was having a hard time keeping up with the hydration demand. And the dietitian that I work with now actually recommended it to me as part of my supplement regimen to help support my anxiety and sleep-related struggles. All the flavors are super delicious, but I am low-key obsessed with the mango chili. So if you want to give Element a try, you can get a whole sample pack of 8 different flavors with any Element purchase. Check out the link in the description to get yours.
So adorable. This hat is everything.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you in real life.
I know.
So fun. What a gorgeous day. Hello, camera.
Beautiful day. Apologies for the audio. It is so busy in here and loud, but that's kind of just part of the experience.
It is a party. I hope you can hear us. We'll start yelling.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm obsessed with the pretzels.
Oh, baby. I'm a bread girly. Like, bread is my favorite food ever.
Can I get a bag of the pretzels, please? Thank you.
I will definitely do some sourdough. Are they all vegan friendly?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Everything is vegan except
Oh, amazing. And that way I can't have soda, I can't have anything carbonated.
I have to have everything carbonated. Brody knows. There are cans of San Pellegrino all over my house.
Oh,
it's
really?
Like yeah. I love it, but it's terrible for my teeth. I do find it's like it hurts my teeth.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok and it was saying if you have tons of carbonated water, it's like gives you cavities or something, which I thought
it like does erode your like teeth enamel over time.
Oh.
So you have to be. Some of them have like a higher or lower pH than others.
Yeah.
So like there are brands that are like better or worse for your teeth.
Right.
But if I'm having a sensitive teeth day, I cannot have it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. That just like triggered my memory to the TikTok trend of the balsamic.
Oh no, that.
Did I see you do a video on
I
that?
did.
Something is so wrong about that trend.
I took one sip of that, and the combination of sparkling water with the balsamic, my teeth hurt for like 3 days.
That's actually my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
First of all, fizzy drink, no, with just straight up vinegar in it.
It was a hard pass. Like, not
Don't
only
believe
did
the trends, kids.
It didn't taste like Coke, and it also like hurt like. So.
There was no benefit. There was.
pasta.
Just three?
Three's fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. I go through kimchi way too much, like too quickly, so maybe this will be my Saturday regular
And
stuff.
also, we don't use any of the fish sauce.
Yeah.
So it's a very basic one,
Yeah.
but you'll love it.
Awesome. Well, honestly, I don't eat fish, so it's kind of hard to find a good kimchi without it.
Got a few vegan specials here from the market. A couple patties. I think there's like a chickpea one. Chickpea?
Chickpea, curry chickpea.
Curry chickpea, a faux beef, and a
Barbecue
jackfruit, which is gonna be good. These are vegan momos, and they're kind of like a little dumpling.
I've never had it before, so I'm so excited.
Good. And then these are some vegan noodles and pickles to go with it. I'm very excited. Are you
Let's
hungry?
dive. Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm always ready.
Okay, I'm gonna do this with a fork. I don't know if this is the right way to eat this, but
We don't do that.
oh wow.
So good.
Like cabbage inside? Oh, this is good.
It's really
Momo,
delicious.
I've never had this. Wow.
I love the dough.
Yeah. Dough and bread, like that is my one
Me
thing.
too.
And it's gonna sound so weird. My favorite food texture is like anything mushy, like a bit like as if I'm, with dentures and maybe in like my 70s. Oatmeal, soups, dips,
love
like
it.
anything that's mushy and requires no chewing. Favorite food texture right there.
Same, me too.
This qualifies for
yeah,
sure.
this works. So, for folks who don't know, you obviously you're vegan, you eat plant-based. How was that journey for you? Like, when did that start, and how do you like identify in terms of like your vegan truth?
Well, it's so interesting. So I feel like even the vegan scene online has changed so much over the past like 10 years. I initially was vegetarian ever since I was a kid. I don't know what it was. I can't even explain. I just had this innate feeling. I was like, Mom, I don't want to eat meat. I think it also might have been from, there was this Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen episode where one of them was vegetarian.
Yes, I'm a vegetarian. Well, you should have thought of that before you decided to come on.
Yo, ladies, do we need a time out here?
They're so impactful.
Yes, like the influence they've had on me.
Influence, yeah.
I remember, I think it was called the Challenge. It was like a Survivor-esque type movie. And then they all handed her like the lettuce and they took off the beef. It was this whole thing. So maybe it was that, and that subconsciously made me be like, I should be vegetarian. I don't know why. From a young age, it always was that way. And my parents always were so good at making homemade meals for us, but they just grew up eating like the traditional Canadian kind of diet or American diet, whatever you want to call it. So when I was maybe in grade like 4 or 5, I was like, Mom, I don't want to eat meat anymore. She's like, no, you're a growing girl. You got to make sure you eat all your nutrients. And it's funny now because she's actually vegan as well. But at the time, there was no information around that.
And there also just wasn't as many like products and options out there.
For sure. Even in the past 5 years, like it's so much more convenient for me to just be out at a random restaurant and be able to like eat something versus just a salad.
Just like a salad.
A boring salad.
Pasta with like tomato sauce.
Yeah. I'll try it for a month, and then it's been almost 10 years now. Wow. So I feel really lucky, and I always say this, I don't know if it's for everyone. I have no background in any of this stuff. I just do what works for me. I get my blood tested, my levels are good. I eat all my colorful vegetables, and I try to eat a balanced diet. But for me, it's worked, and I feel great doing it.
I mean, I always say, like, I have a very strong feeling that my own children are going to become vegetarian.
Oh, really?
Vegan. Yeah.
Really?
They love animals, and my son always asks me questions about, like jerky, for example. Like, where does the jerky come from?
Right.
And I said, well, that one came from a cow. Mm-hmm. How do they get the cow in the jerky? Well, they have to slaughter the cow. And then he says, well, what happens to the mommy and daddy? Like, he'll ask, like, those kinds of questions. Or the babies. What happens to the babies? And, like, I'm really, like, all about parenting honestly. So I try to be open. And of course, he's going to make his decision on what he wants to do as he gets older. Mm-hmm. And I'm totally supportive of that.
Totally.
We eat a lot of plant-based foods anyway, so it would be a natural thing for our family to do.
For sure.
But yeah, I think that thank goodness over the past 10 years, we've seen such an evolution in the vegan space. I'm curious, did you ever feel like you wanted to dabble in some of the more kind of like fringe, extreme aspects of veganism?
Oh, absolutely. So when I first went vegan, and this was a time of like the fruitarian raw vegan, which that's what I understood veganism to be.
Right.
And it's funny because I had started posting on YouTube around this time. When I was 16 when I started posting, I'm 24 now. And my first videos, I literally have like 3 mangoes for like a dessert or a snack. Whereas now, again, like I love a mango, it's my favorite fruit, but I would just have like 1 now. Yeah. But at the time, I saw all of these vegans who were like the face of the community.
The mono meals.
Yes. And they were eating so much fruit. So it was so funny. I have this specific memory. I was doing cheerleading at the time, and I was going away on this trip, and I was, again, still like newly kind of vegan, but eating a lot more fruit.
Yeah.
I was never like raw vegan or properly that level, but I ate much more fruit. And then that's actually why I started posting a lot of what I eat in a day, is because I wasn't seeing anyone just eating quote unquote quote normal vegan.
Yes.
And not making you feel like, oh, you're bad if you use oil or if you eat bread, like all of these things.
The oil-free vegan, the high carb, low fat vegan, that to me is such a problematic element of that space, because it really has encouraged a lot of people to have these really like disordered like relationships with food. They're, you know, veganism can and should be absolutely a balanced way of eating.
Oh, for sure.
But when you are like purposefully cutting out all of these already vegan foods, it's like you're not left with very much.
Oh, not at all.
For what reason?
And that's what makes me kind of sad in the sense that I felt like I was, I mean, as smart as you can be at 15 or 16, and I always came from a background of like, you know, very balanced eating. So if I was even falling susceptible to that at that time, and all of the vegan icons were eating this way, like, how can you not think that that's the right way to eat?
Right. My own younger years when I was struggling with my relationship with food, and I don't think that my parents really knew, but they were like trying to support me and do what made me feel comfortable. But at the same time, I think that they were like, is this going too far? Because, you know, like I had orthorexia, which is like basically me wanting to be healthy, but taking it to an extreme. And so at first they were like, oh, this is like healthy behavior.
Right, there's good intention behind it.
But then like once they started to see it have such a big impact on my physical and mental health, they were like, oh no, did we let this go too far?
I have to have food.
So you can get a little
My nails are impaling it. Little beef patty.
It's good, spicy. I love a good spice.
Flaky.
It's actually like miraculous sometimes how like there's so many great innovative plant-based restaurants now that are playing with all these great vegetables, and I love that. Like one of my favorite restaurants, I think it's in Philly. It's called Veg. Is it Philly or Boston? But anyways, someone will call me out on it. But anyways, it was like I went there like maybe like 10 years ago before the vegan movement really took off, and I was just so amazed by it, because it wasn't so much just like, you know, using a lot of soy products or like faux soy products. It was like, how do we take vegetables and make them the star of the plate? Right. And that to me is like so interesting, because you know, you can make a parsnip look and taste like a scallop, for example. Right. And like, you know, like
oyster
love
mushrooms.
That. Yeah, I love like, why can't we just like celebrate all those amazing vegetables more often?
And there comes a point where it's like, I can only have so many Beyond Burgers in my life. Like, and I think it is great that there are options.
Oh,
and again, if you're at a fast food, A&W, it's nice that I can have an option and not feel like I can't join in on the activity of eating or a meal. But there is a point where also, again, with the intention of my What I Eat a Day videos too, is to show that you also, if you want to be eating that all day, you totally can, but also it doesn't have to just be eating mock meat, because I know that can also turn people off. They go, why would I eat plant-based if I'm eating food that is acting like what I'm supposed to be avoiding? It's this whole thing. Yeah. Anyways, eat what you want, eat what you feel like. That's the motto.
I'm like, eat what feels good to you. I think like that's like, for a lot of people, they don't even they're just kind of copying what a lot of other creators are putting out there online.
So funny too, because with YouTube, it's like your video where you literally have gone to school for this, you have an actual basis in this, that is put on the same scale and on the same platform as someone who doesn't, but they could be claiming all of these other things. And how does the viewer necessarily, especially if they're younger, know how to navigate that?
They don't. And that's why
that's what gets scary.
It gets scary. I get dozens and dozens and dozens of DMs every single week of people saying, I'm so confused. Yeah. You know, I read this, I saw this on YouTube, I saw this on TikTok, and I don't know what to believe. And I get it. Like, some of these claims and these influencers are so convincing
Right.
in their, in their delivery and their marketing of these messages that it's literally impossible to know what to believe and what not to.
Yeah.
The layperson is not trained in how to analyze scientific literature.
Right.
So, without someone like myself or other kind of science communicators, we need to help break that down to let people know what kind of claims are worth you kind of thinking more seriously about,
Right.
and what is just probably not really realistic.
Right.
A lot of the things that influencers say online are based on like a smidgen of scientific truth that gets extrapolated to a point where it actually no longer makes any kind of real sense in the real world. So you might see research that's like done on a petri dish or a single nutrient, but we don't just eat single nutrients, we eat foods.
Right.
And so unless you're just like shooting yourself up with individual nutrients, the likelihood is you're not going to see any major kind of impact, right, on long-term health. So. You've obviously been doing this for like a really long time. How have you been able to just like protect your mental health? Because there's just so many, there's a lot of criticism. Everyone has something negative to say. Do you read comments? Do you watch videos about you? Like, how do you manage that for yourself?
Interesting. Part of it is I feel like I'm really lucky that I'm just somewhat resilient and do not really care what people think. I think it might have been growing up in the acting world and just having a really healthy relationship with rejection or feedback. Something that I heard though, which I do always try to think about, even when it comes to positive comments too, because also I don't want to be someone that's getting so full of myself or these people are hyping me up. So it's like, you have to really remember, whether it be positive or negative, you really just can't let either side affect you. So I truly do just try to ignore it. And I also think too, for the most part, I'd say like 98% of my comments and the core people watching my videos, they are totally fine and lovely. Also too, there's a certain point where you see the same type of maybe negative comments. So like, it's like, okay, if someone gets a bit more creative or niche and I go, okay, you know what, that actually like props to you. That was a bit better. Like I appreciate it. But there's a certain point where it's like, okay, you call me ugly, you call me like, it doesn't do too much. I think it's more people like from my real life or people that I value. If they were saying negative things, that would hurt more. But it's like, user 12530, like there's a certain point where I don't, and for the most part people are positive.
That's great.
So that I feel lucky with. Response videos though, I do kind of get a bit like, you get that feeling right before you click on it. And to be fair, there's only been a few. There was a few that were like very harsh, and I was like, oh okay, they were calling me like a fake vegan, that I was lying, and like that I just really mean stuff. I don't even want to like add fuel, like don't go and Google the video, don't give them views. So I had that same feeling with yours. I was like, oh god, like I'm not even trying to be like a food person, and now I'm getting these reviews, what's going on? But I also think it is healthy to have criticism too, and not be in an echo chamber and be like, what I'm doing is always right. Like I think it is healthy to look at that stuff to a degree. But yeah, I just feel lucky that it's never been too overwhelming, and I feel like I have really healthy boundaries in my personal life. Like I'm not the type, as much as I love taking photos and sharing my life, like when I'm living my best life, like my phone isn't out, my camera's not out, all those moments I'm very good at having harsh lines about.
That's good.
What about you? How do you deal with all of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of having like a really great team who's able to just like support me and
or like filter it through almost.
Filter it through, and like, if it's worth me actually taking action, which sometimes it is, and like obviously like acknowledging, and I take people's feedback very seriously, and I do try to integrate that into future content,
especially if it's like a long-time viewer, someone that actually gets you. Like that's where I want to hear that.
Those are the people that I actually care about the feedback from. The people who don't agree with what I'm doing, they're never going to agree with what I'm doing, and I'm not going to. My content's just not for them. But it's the people who the comments from people who are like, I normally love your video, but I didn't like about this, or I wish you didn't say that, or you should have said this. Those are the things that help me reflect and get better for next time. And so those are the comments that I actually pay more attention to. But I also am a really type A personality, and it is very hard sometimes to just kind of like constantly get that bombarding criticism. So if it's a critique piece that I see that it's from somebody who like I do not give a what they have to say, I don't even entertain it. Totally. I don't even watch it. And there's lots of pieces about me, and most of my team will watch it and they'll be like, that was hilarious, Abby. Don't worry about it. It's
so funny. I watch back my old videos because, again, I was like 16 when I started. And it's so funny because now I look back, I'm like, would I want my 16-year-old kid like posting videos on the internet? Like that seems so crazy.
I know.
But I was really lucky too, and I have to give credit to my parents because at that age, they were always super protective, even about what I shared online. And they would always, at first, review my YouTube videos before I was allowed to post them. So at the time when I'm 16, I'm like, I'm grown. That's annoying. I don't want to do that, Mom. But I look back and I'm so grateful that I had really good, healthy boundaries with social, and also someone who was putting a watchful eye on it. Which I feel like also helped that I was, like, I felt like I was really slowly eased into the world. And I say this all the time too about like TikTokers that I see that will blow up overnight. I feel very grateful that with my career, even when I was younger to when I started going online, it was always very gradual, and I got to get my footing in a really healthy way. I was never just thrown in front of all these, you know, a huge audience. Totally. So I got to, you know, make some mistakes or learn or pivot or be more careful with what I say or what I got to learn all of that like within time. Oh, this is like dripping on me.
Yep, I know, same.
But yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. The internet is such an interesting space, and I don't think it's for everyone. It can be really hard, and but there's also so many positive things that it's changed my life, and I would not take any of it back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the mango, we're going down.
It's going down. I know, we're gonna have
this
to
is so good.
So sweet and good. So I wanted to ask you about like, you know, we'd be talking about social media and how kind of manufactured it often is. Like, do you ever feel pressure, whether it's from like your what I do days or just like your day in the lives or like any of the vlog content you do to like kind of, you know, tweak or massage or like make your life a little more aesthetically pleasing to kind of fit the YouTube aesthetic?
Totally. I actually felt that with some of my what I eat in a days. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier in the sense that I was like, oh, I was trying to anticipate what the comments would be. So I would like be like, okay, well let me just make my own meal. Let me plate it a bit better. Let me do a little. Yeah. And to be fair, I love a good plated meal. Like I like having the art of like food and things like that. So I like things looking pretty. But there's certain times where I just slap together a sandwich, or I don't worry about like my plate. I will cut on my plate and make them like I don't worry about those things. But when I am filming, I'll be like, okay, let me just use a cutting board so that way when I plate it, it's more clean. Like little things like that.
Yeah, because influencers or content creators, like we are just normal people.
Totally.
And I think that's why people like to watch our content, because they can relate to us.
Yeah.
So once we lose that relatability, because we're just like artificially inflating our lives in certain ways, for me, it loses its allure. Well, I'm just so excited that I got to meet you.
I'm glad this happened. Thank you for making the food review first, or else I don't think this would have happened.
Well, I'm thank you for eating, for making food content.
I do it every day.
Yeah. Well, I'm totally like obsessed with all your makeup videos because I'm like,
you.
girl, how do you contour?
Oh, you have to come to the studio. I'll do a little glam on you one day.
That's our next video.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do a glam vid.
Oh. You're hearing it here, so it will happen.
Yes.
Hold us accountable.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for having me today. This was so fun. So nice meeting you.
Me too. I hope you enjoy your little pretzel.
Oh, I got sourdough, I got pretzel, I got kimchi. Actually, you got that. I hope it doesn't spill in your bag right now.
Good.
But
it's gonna be an amazing meal.
You showed me all the ways in the market, and if you're in Toronto, if you did not know about this, come. It's a great vibe
hit
here.
Up the Brickworks Market. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you might see us there again.
Every Saturday, baby.
That was so nice to be like just hanging out with another human, because honestly my job is usually pretty lonely, and especially with like the whole COVID thing over the past 2 years, I have been very close to burning out on more than one occasion. So I'm really trying to make an effort to find more ways to just like make my job more fun and more social and enjoyable, because I'm a really social person, and that's definitely something that's been hard for me in this area of work. But if you guys liked this video and you enjoyed seeing me do a fun little collab, please give me the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below on who you'd like to see me collaborate with next. Is there any other great Toronto creators that you guys know of that I can hook up with? Not that kind of hookup. Obviously, I'm married. But subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.